and welcome to the show. My name is Alex and this is TechFlow. We've arrived at IKEA today because we are going to see these new Sonos speakers. They've partnered with IKEA to create some new products and I can't wait to actually check them out. So we've managed to find the IKEA booth for what I'm going to call Symfonisk line of products. It's essentially, well, there's two of them. There's this speaker here and there's a lamp. They've both got speakers built into them, and this one can sort of function as a bookshelf speaker by itself, or you can buy a wall mount for it and have it as a wall mounted shelf, which I think is super, super cool. We can test them here, but I think what would be better is to put some in a basket, take some home, get them back in the studio and see what we think. Hey, can I speak to you about getting some of these speakers? This is I need to ask a member of staff to get some. I just want to get the white lamp and then the white, one of each essentially.
So what you'll need to do is if you use this order form to pay for it first of all, then you collect it after.
Brill, okay, thank you.
Brill. When it's ready.
Cool, thank you very much, appreciate it. So they're actually not like any normal IKEA product. You have to go and ask a member of staff, tell them what you want, and then they give you this order sheet so you can pick it up at checkout. So we've got the black table lamp and the white bookshelf speaker. It's come to a total of $249. So let's go and pick this up. So, arrived back from IKEA with our Symfonisk speaker system. If I'm saying that wrong, please let me know down in the comments and help me on my pronunciation. Let's get into this and test them out, but first, a word from our sponsor. A huge thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this TechFlow video. Skillshare is a learning community with thousands of classes covering dozens of creative and entrepreneurial skill sets. Compared to other learning platforms, Skillshare is actually really price disruptive, coming in at just under $10 a month, whereas in-person classes can be upwards of, well, hundreds. I've been recently into creating a custom system that works, which is a masterclass all about bettering your productivity, something that I feel that I lack quite often in. So because Skillshare is sponsoring this video, they're offering all of our TechFlow watchers a 2-month free trial. If you go to the link in the description or go to skl.sh/TechFlow. Right, let's get into these speakers. So one of the most interesting facts that I found out about this is if you are sat there at home wanting to buy into the Sonos, ecosystem, this is the cheapest way to do it. So you're getting full sort of Sonos functionality, but for less price. This is the cheapest speaker out of the two here, coming in at just under £100, $99. And I believe the cheapest Sonos speaker, like from Sonos themselves, is $139 or $149. So this is the cheapest way if you want some multi-room Sonos speakers. And I can tell you right off the bat that Sonos, the actual ecosystem, is really good, all the way down to different tracks in each room to exactly the same track synced up perfectly in each room. Okay, so essentially we have the speaker. What else do we have in the box? We have an Ethernet cable and we have a braided power cable and an instruction manual, but that is about it. Now I really do assume that we're just gonna have exactly the same situation in here, but with a different speaker. We'll just have the speaker or lamp itself, whatever you want to call it, and some power cables and an Ethernet cable. Quick side note, there's some builders working in this house today, so apologies if you hear any bangs or what sounds to be like a really horny wasp. Okay, so here we have our speaker itself, which reminds me, actually, funnily enough, of an Apple HomePod. And then you have this sort of glass bowl, which is going to sit on top of there and screw in, and that then makes our light. We need to install a bulb in here first though. And then another braided power cable right here, this time in black to match the black color of the lamp. Now, something to note, you can get each of these products in both black and white. So let's plug them in and see what happens. So we're in the Sonos app, and as you guys can see, I've got 4 speakers currently set up. We've got some in the garden, we've got some in the kitchen, master bedroom, and the office. But what we're going to go ahead and do is click on more, add speakers, connect your speaker to power, and hopefully get this bad boy connected into our Sonos application. Okay, so it's asking me which of the speakers am I wanting to set up, and scrolling down here, it's giving me 2 options for IKEA lights, the table lamp and the bookshelf. So this one is the bookshelf. So we've got connecting. Please wait while the connection is completed. Perfect time for me to talk about how to connect to this thing. So it actually has an Ethernet port in the back of the speaker, so you can go ahead and hardwire this directly into your router for internet access, or it also has built-in Wi-Fi to connect to Wi-Fi, which it can automatically configure, or it can connect to Sonos's internal network. So if you have other Sonos speakers, it's how they all communicate together. Pretty much is a Sonos speaker, but with an IKEA name badge on top of it. And with it obviously having IKEA's name badge on it, it has some awesome mounting options. So like you can mount this to other IKEA accessories, for example, hanging in the kitchen, or you can actually buy the shelf accessory for this, which I think is totally awesome. Have it flush up against the wall, and it is just a little shelf, a bookshelf or an anything shelf to put anything you want on it that also plays music. Cool, right, so far? So the setup of these 2 speakers in the Sonos app wasn't as easy as I would have hoped. It's taken us quite some time to do it, and it is actually still updating as we speak. So whilst it's doing that, I thought I'd run through a little rundown of these speakers, or what you get for each one. So we've told you guys that you can get each one in black or white. We've got the black lamp and the white shelf. We've told you guys that this is a shelf. It can attach to IKEA's sort of peripherals in the kitchen, and it can also be its own shelf and go on a wall, which is absolutely awesome. On the front of it, you have this lovely material here with a little IKEA Sonos badge on the top. And then down the bottom, we have our play pause in the middle, volume up, volume down, and a status light. So with this one, there's simply a switch on the side, which is on and off, not dimmable. And then right down here, quite hidden away actually, is the status light, play pause, and volume up and down buttons. Now, we're still updating. So what's the crack with both of these things? Well, multi-function, multi-purpose. We've got a shelf speaker over here. We've got a light speaker over here. Now, you really have to think outside the box as to where you could put these, because they could work really, really well. What about if you got 2 of these lights, for example, and paired them up in stereo pair, have one as left, one as right, have them on your bedside table? That is awesome. Or what if you're rocking a really sleek minimal design somewhere and you want a really sleek minimal network smart connected speaker to go along with that could go in, well, portrait like this, landscape like this, or be mounted to a wall. Essentially, the world is your oyster here. Let me show you guys, on the other side of this, we also do have an Ethernet port like the shelf speaker itself. And the material around here is a really weird sort of, I wouldn't expect it to move like that. But it looks nice. Like I said at the start, reminds me of a HomePod. Feels very premium. Now, some more info on these speakers for you guys. The cable management on the back of them is absolutely awesome with those braided cables. You can run the cables each and every way possible. The one thing you may have noticed though is, as far as I.O., we've got no auxiliary input. So how can you interface with this thing? Well, you do it through the Sonos app, and you can tie your Apple Music, Spotify, music services, Pandora, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio to it, and then go ahead and stream your music from there to these devices, or via the Sonos app, you can stream music to these that's stored locally on your phone. Also to note as well, you can pair these things up as a stereo pair, but they have to be the exact same speaker. So I can't have these 2 in a stereo pair, but I could have 2 of these or 2 of these. Does that make sense? And last one, you can use these with your AV setup if you would like as surround speakers. The example Sonos and IKEA give is if you have a play bar, a Sonos play bar at the front, you could have two of these at the rear or two of these at the rear, giving you that fidelity of sound. So now, let's finish for the update and listen to what these things actually sound like. Right, so we're finally in. It's taken me probably about 45 minutes to get these things set up. So if you're wanting to buy these things and get some music playing out of them the second you unbox them, just call it quits straight away. As you can tell, I'm quite frustrated. But let's test it anyway. So what I'm actually gonna do is swing this bad boy round, place it there, and listen to some music so I can let you guys know exactly what I think. Which one's that one? That's that one. An error occurred while adding tracks to the queue. See, seems to be like problem after problem. Unable to play. Like, this is just more of a headache than it's worth. Go on. Play the song. Play the song.
Seems like a very flawed system, doesn't it?
Just stop the track there halfway through me listening to it. And now I won't play it. This is just mental. It's just not even working at all. I had an old like Sonos unit here ready to test and compare the quality of these speakers out, but they just don't work. I'm really sorry, but they just don't work. I don't know if I've been extremely unlucky and got like two duff units. They've passed the setup. They set up absolutely fine, albeit it took about 40 minutes. But now I've got them set up, they just won't play music. And when they do, they play it for about 40 seconds and then turn off and turn the volume up and down by themselves, and now apparently there's nothing in the queue whatsoever. Let me just try and play, click play there. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And I've had Sonos running in this house for about the last 4 years without a problem, like no issue whatsoever at all. So this is really quite upsetting and a little bit annoying because I was really looking forward to hopefully recommending these, but I simply just can't. From the half a second that I've actually heard them playing, yeah, but no if you physically just can't play music. Number 2 is still showing up, albeit we can't play any music on it, but now number 3 isn't even showing up in the list of speakers at all. Like, it's totally vanished. It's not here anymore. Gone. Nada. No way. I'm not even gonna let you play music out of me anymore. You've just wasted £150, essentially. So I really didn't want to rush this video, hence why it's a totally different day now, and I've had a couple of days to reflect, and on those days I thought of a couple of things, this being them. First off, I really like the design of this speaker. I think the shelf integration is absolutely awesome, and from the short amount of sound that I heard coming out of it, it sounded pretty good. As far as this light variant goes, I'm struggling where, other than your bedside table or having two of these either side of a sofa, to think of other places to put them. This one is much more easily integrated and great because it's cheaper. And this one is a little bit more niche in that it's bigger and it's also a light. But I don't know if you guys remember, I did a video when the IKEA smart lighting system came out and it just plain and simple didn't work. But then I revisited that video 7 months later, literally a couple of weeks ago, and I gave them a solid review because IKEA had managed to work on software updates and they got them to work right. What I'm gonna do is keep these in the studio and then in 2 months' time, come back, revisit them, and if my opinion changes on these speakers, then I will make a video on it. But for now, I will tell you guys to, well, if you're wanting some sound around your home, go for a Sonos Play 1 instead of these, because these, for me, well, all it's been is stress. But for now, mine has been Alex, this has been TechFlow, and we'll catch you in the next one. Adios.